following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Welcome to the Morgan Man Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Stacy Morgan. Here on the Morgan Man Sports Podcast, we talk Atlanta Falcons news, pre-game predictions, and all other news surrounding the Atlanta Falcons.
Touchdown, Atlanta!
Also on the podcast, we talk Call of Duty League, esports, covering Roster Mania, major predictions, COD champs, player trades, and much more to get you ready for every single CDL weekend.
Scuff goes through, and Scuff snaps, wins the one-on-one in optic with the reverse sweep.
If that sounds good with you, put on your Falcons jersey, grab your gaming headset, and let's get this show started. What is going on, you guys? I'm your host, Stacy Morgan, and you're listening to the Morgan Man Sports Podcast here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the Atlanta Falcons and their 2025 NFL draft class, how they fit into the Atlanta Falcons system moving forward, and a little bit of controversy with the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator's son making prank calls to Shedeur Sanders. So without any further delay, let's go to get straight into today's action. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get the obvious out of the way. Obviously, here we are talking about Shedeur Sanders getting a prank call from none other than Jeff Ulbrich's son from Ole Miss. It's wild. So the Shedeur Sanders draft day prank call mystery has officially been solved, with the son of Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich admitting he was the person behind the cruel joke, calling a tremendous mistake. This is an article on TMZSports.com. I will have this linked in the bio below for you guys to check it out. Jax Ulbrich, the college sophomore son of the former New York Jets interim head coach, fessed up Sunday afternoon in a social media post. And I quote, "On Friday night, I made a tremendous mistake. Shedeur, what I did was completely inexcusable, embarrassing, and shameful. I'm so sorry I took away from your moment. It was a selfish and childish. I could never imagine getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest moments of your life, and I made a terrible mistake, messed up with that moment, Jax wrote on Instagram. And I quote, "Thank you for accepting my call earlier today. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me," the 21-year-old said in closing before tagging Sanders online. Of course, the prank call on Friday as the NFL's draft's second and third rounds played out only added an insult to injury for Shedeur, who had expected to be drafted the previous night on that Thursday night near the top early first round. When the call came, Shedeur and his family thought the long wait was finally over, but alas, it was not. There was near immediate belief the prank could have been someone from the inside the NFL family, as Shedeur got a new phone for draft night specifically so teams could contact him. No one else supposedly had the number. After video from the prankster side of the call was released, people began to identify Jax, who plays running back at Division III Berry College, from the clip. The Falcons, who hired Jeff Ulbrich as their defense coordinator this offseason after he was let go by the Jets, also ensured a statement explaining what happened, saying that they're in contact with the league office. Shedeur was ultimately drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round with the 144th pick and has yet to comment publicly on Jax's apology. And of course, everybody knows to go to the AtlantaFalcons.com website or on their Twitter page or X page, whatever you want to call it, and, look at the statement from there. But yes, this right here, guys, it's it's not a good sight right here. So he ultimately admitted that he's, stole the phone number from Jeff Ulbrich's iPad and, prank called Shedeur Sanders. Of course, the league is going to do an investigation. People are saying that Jeff Ulbrich should ultimately be fired, but that's just becoming now a reality from just Falcons fans because they did not like the signing of Jeff Ulbrich earlier in this offseason. So I don't think Jeff Ulbrich should be in really much trouble to begin with. It should be his son Jax, who, ultimately should be at least facing some sort of fine, penalty, something for stealing league information on a player. Yes, he's a football player himself, but now Shedeur Sanders is, I hate to kind of say it like this, but it is kind of true. He is the property of the NFL, and the NFL will take matters in their own hands and, ultimately, fine Jax because he is of age. He is in college. So he's going to be treated as an adult in this situation. So I'm not going to say much further on this right here because, God forbid, I don't want no legal team coming after me. So we will leave that as be, but again, I will link the TMZ article down below for you guys to check that out and read on your behalf. So staying along with the Atlanta Falcons right here, the 2025 NFL draft class, all of Atlanta Falcons picks. So if you're looking to get the rundown of all the draft action or place to find the latest Falcons draft coverage, this is a good place to start. The 2025 NFL draft has officially wrapped, and the Falcons have made a substantial investment in their defense during the 3-day event. Despite making only 5 selections with ties to the fewest for a draft class in franchise history, Falcons general manager Terry Fontenot and head coach Raheem Morris feel their team added several impact players to the roster, a primary goal for Atlanta. So with the first round, pick number 15, the Atlanta Falcons do select linebacker Jalen Walker from the University of Georgia. Walker may have been just a one-year starter for Kirby Smart, but his overall impact and playmaking ability makes him arguably the top edge rusher / linebacker not named Adil Carter in this year's class. Despite his smaller frame when compared to other edge rushers, Walker's upside is exactly what he showed at Georgia, an ability to consistently put a quarterback under pressure. So how does he fit with this Atlanta Falcons regime? Call him an edge rusher, call him a linebacker, call him a hybrid of the two. Whatever you want to call him, just make sure you know to use the word versatile when describing his play, because that is exactly what it is. Walker is the type of player defensive coordinators would love to move around the front seven while putting creative rush plans together for him. This tracks for why the Falcons would want him seen as what they've liked to with Caden Ellis in the past. For Walker, that's a role that he values himself, saying he is at his best when he is used as a chess piece. For the Falcons, continue to unlock potential in his way as a hybrid chess piece of sorts could pay dividends for what the Falcons could do ultimately on defense. Round 1, pick number 26, we select James Pierce Jr., the edge rusher out of Tennessee University. So we got 2 SEC players right off the rip right here in the first round. So after traded back into the first round for the Atlanta Falcons do select University of Tennessee edge rusher James Pierce Jr. with the 26th overall pick in this year's draft. In the trade with the LA Rams, the Falcons gave up pick number 46 and 242 in this year's draft class, as well as their first round pick in the 2026 NFL draft. In addition to the number 26 pick, the Falcons will also receive pick number 101 this year. So how does James Pierce Jr. fit with the Atlanta Falcons? So the Falcons needed to add juice to the pass rush, and Pierce brings a lot of juice. He's an athletic player who stays clean by ripping, dipping, and dancing his way past offensive tackles. Pierce has an elite first step explosiveness and will have opponents on their back foot in a blink of an eye. Don't expect Pierce to hold up at a point of attack in the run game, but that's not what he's here to do. The Falcons need someone to get after the quarterback, and he does that well, as any player in the draft class has evident by his 17.5 sacks over the last 2 seasons with the University of Tennessee. Round 3, pick number 96. We select Xavier Watts, safety from Notre Dame. So now we're getting into some other regions of the college football universe. The Atlanta Falcons did trade up in the third round of the 2025 NFL Draft to select University of Notre Dame safety Xavier Watts with the number 6 overall pick. The Falcons received number 96 pick with the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for Atlanta's number 101, also a third round and a 2026 fifth rounder. So the Falcons are definitely banking in on this season so far, with a lot of trades going into next season for the NFL Draft. So how does Watts fit in this system? Watts doesn't have athleticism that keeps off the tape or rare size, but he is an excellent football player. He has a feel for the game that seems almost pertumental at times, if I'm saying this right, and as evidenced by his 13 interceptions the last 2 seasons, which were the most of any player in college football. Like many of the defenders Atlanta has sought in the draft, Watts is a versatile player who has played free safety, box safety, and even linebacker during his career with the Irish. Watts also fits the character profile the Falcons seek and was the 2-time team captain. Pairing Watts with Jesse Bates gives Atlanta 2 safeties with a very high football IQ that can work well off of each other to create confusion for opposing quarterbacks. Round 4, pick number 118, we select Billy Bowman Jr., defensive back, Oklahoma Sooner. So that's 3 now SEC players off the board for the Atlanta Falcons. So before I go any further right here, me and a kind of like a vendor, like Frito-Lay vendor from work, the day this recorded was actually just talking about this, saying that look at the Lions, Patriots, Philadelphia Eagles. Who are they selecting? They're selecting SEC players. And everybody knows the SEC is the ultimate college conference overall that has the most NFL ready players. And he believes that the Falcons are kind of giving into it now, and hopefully it will pay dividends. So he says, and I agree with him, because now with us having a UGA player, an Oklahoma Sooners player, and a Tennessee Volunteers player, definitely some game changers right here. So Bowman joins Xavier Watts as the second college safety drafted. Watts was the Falcons' 96th pick Friday in the 4th round. Together, they enter a position room that features J.C. Bates III, Jordan Fuller, and DeMarco Helms. So how does he fit with the Falcons? He's really good downhill player who is quick to come up and be physical against the run. Bowman could fill a box safety / nickel role, similar to a way they utilized Kevin King last year. Bowman has all of the traits to become a core special teams player as well. Bowman's biggest knock against him is his shorter arms. At 28.5 inches, with a wingspan of 70 3/4 inches, but he is often in the right place due to his high level of football IQ and his fearless defender. Round 7, pick number 218, the Atlanta Falcons do select Jack Nielsen, tackle from Wisconsin University. So how does Nielsen fit in with the Atlanta Falcons? Nielsen was a 4-year starter for Wisconsin. He is super durable, having played in 51 of the Badgers games from 2021 through 2024. He's also started 50 of those 2, which Nielsen has the most experience at left tackle. He has taken reps across the offensive line. Nielsen has developed a depth piece for the Falcons' otherwise veteran offensive line. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is your 2025 NFL draft class for the Atlanta Falcons. For sure, definitely the very first 2 picks, and James Pierce and Jalen Walker is definitely the highlight of this draft for the Atlanta Falcons. Picking 2 highly talented SEC players, both from Tennessee and Georgia, is definitely giving this Falcons team kind of a glimpse of hope that they're really putting in full frontal effort on this defense to make it a top 10, even a top 5 in that case. And I'm willing to sit here and say that right now, publicly recorded and broadcast it out into the podcasting world, that yes, the Falcons, they're going all in this year. And that's why I said during kind of my mock draft that the Falcons, they're more close than the Chicago Bears, because everybody remembers I had the Falcons trade in a lot of their draft picks for that 10th overall pick with the Chicago Bears, because the Bears need more help than kind of the Falcons do. All the Falcons really need to do is just clean up and really draft well for defense. And that's what they did. But of course, it came from other teams like the Eagles and the LA Rams. But regardless of the fact right here, the Falcons definitely went all in on defense, got some very good pieces. I'm excited to see where really everybody's going to be landing at, whether it be, I'm pretty sure Jalen Walker and James Pierce is going to be starters day one for sure. The rest of them might be second, third strings right in there, which is still great. You're earning your reps right there during training camp, which hopefully I should be going to training camp this season. And if not, just at least for one day, just to watch the players practice. And of course, I will be tweeting live right then and there. So guys, what do you think of the 2025 NFL draft class for the Atlanta Falcons? Do you think the Falcons absolutely nailed it this year? Or do you think there was at least a piece or two missing that the Falcons could have picked up this year for the season? So let me know on YouTube or comment on Spotify, ladies and gentlemen. There is a feature where you can comment on Spotify, but also make sure to subscribe on the Belly Up Sports YouTube page. Definitely does help me out, and it helps Belly Up Sports continue to grow each and every single day. Download this podcast. Again, follow Morgan Man Sports on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And until then, guys, I, Stacy Morgan, will catch you all later. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.